Hey, how you doing? This is Barb, and welcome back to Barb's Book Reviews. I've got 3 recommended reads for you this month. The first one is, if I can do this without the camera screwing me up, Joan by Katherine J. Chen. If you watched Step Into the Star, you know that this was our book of the month last month. When Sydney Young recommended it, I didn't want to read it. I confess that a story about Joan of Arc that left out the religion made me a little bit well, I have to say, as a Catholic, I was a little bit like, I'm not sure. I'm very glad I had to read it because if I hadn't, I would have missed out on what is probably the best book I've read all year. This book is fabulous. Joan is strong. She's a warrior. And while she doesn't hear voices from God, there is plenty of evidence sprinkled in to make you feel like she's being guided by a higher force. Other people see her as a messenger of God, and there's enough clues. It's a great portrait of Middle Ages and a woman defying the times. I just can't, I wish I could describe it better. I loved her. I loved how strong she was. I loved Katherine Chen's writing. It is lyrical, it's smart, it's evocative. The first scene alone, which is a kid's battle in a field, is so vivid, and you can just see it unfolding in your eyes, in front of your eyes. I loved it. I really recommend people get it. If you're a Catholic like me, it's really not that bad. I mean, you can look at it and say, yes, this is a different story, but a different Joan of Arc. But in general, I think Chen was very respectful of the true story and created one that is more modern and fits a modern definition of what a female warrior would be. Again, I recommend it. The second book that I recommend is Clark in Division by Naomi Hirahara. This is a book about a young woman named Aki who moves to Chicago after leaving the detention camps at World War II. And her plan is to meet up with her sister. She gets there and finds out that her sister has supposedly committed suicide by jumping in front of a train. Aki doesn't believe that this has happened. She says that this is not my sister's personality, and she takes it upon herself to investigate. And this investigation brings her into kind of the seamy underbelly of Chicago. She goes to gambling dens. She gets involved with police corruption, gangs, unwanted pregnancies, abortion clinics. There's a lot going on in there. And as a result, she changes as a person. She starts out as rather a meek, unassuming woman who felt like she was always in her sister's shadow to almost embodying what her sister was. She's bold, she's modern, she takes chances, she takes no prisoners. That was what her sister was. It's a great mystery. There was enough twists and turns that it keeps you interested. Better yet, I should say, the mystery kind of takes a back seat to the portrayal of what it was like post World War II or in the later years of World War II to be a Japanese American living in the United States and dealing with the prejudice that they were faced with. I didn't realize, I mean, I knew about the detention camps, and I knew that during the war they faced a lot of prejudice. The amount that they faced prior to the war was unbelievable. It was an education. I didn't know it. I admit it. I'm really glad she wrote this book. It's the first in a series. I am looking forward to going back to Clark and Division Streets to see what she does with the next mystery. There are a few ends that are left open-ended, and that's to be expected with a first book. But it's a really fun read. I devoured it in a weekend. It's, again, a serious, but not overly depressing, even though it's a murder. It's very poignant at the end. So again, I give this 4 or 5 stars and tell you to buy that. And then my third book, which isn't out yet, it comes out on November 15th, but I absolutely loved it. I'm going to add a little picture up here. So The Call of the Wrens by Jenni Walsh. This is a book about let's see if I do this right, the Great Britain's Women's Royal Navy. If I do it right, I have a piece of paper and I still can't do it right. It is the Royal Navy Service. It's the female branch of the British Royal Navy. I didn't know this, but they were formed in World War I, and then they disbanded, and then they came back for World War II. And they did things like telegraphs, cooks, dispatchers, motorcycle telegraph dispatch riders. I mean, it's really kind of cool. I didn't realize all the things that women did on the home front. And they faced danger in some cases. They were doing it during bombings. There were some women who were at sea doing it during with U-boats patrolling outside of London. This book fits two timelines. There's a World War I timeline with Marion, who's a young orphan girl who's in love with her orphan's childhood sweetheart, and they enlist and go off together to fight World War I. And then there's a World War II storyline with a woman named Evelyn. She's a wealthy female race car driver who defies her parents and joins the Wrens against their wishes. She has a secret that she's hiding, and she's very afraid that it'll keep her out of the Wrens. So it was interesting watching her really fight to belong. Both these women were very strong-minded. They were very independent. They were very, what's the word I wanted to use? Immensely likable is a good word to put it. Sorry for the pause. Immensely likable. There's a twist about 2/3 away from the book, and that twist, which I admit caught me by surprise. I wasn't expecting it. I couldn't figure out how she was going to tie these two storylines together. This twist ties it together and then propels it into the last third. It was, again, it was one of those books that I read in a weekend. I liked it. I was really rooting for Evelyn. She is so rootable from page one. Marion's story is a little tense. I mean, you're waiting for the shoe to drop because she's making these decisions, and you just know something bad's going to happen. This was one of those first times in a long time that I wanted to peek ahead and see what the ending was, because I was so afraid for Marion. So November 15th, it comes out. I recommend it. Pre-order it, and you will not be sorry. So those are my 3 books: Joan, Clark and Division, and The Call of Wrens. If you like what you see, I hope you'll hit the subscribe button and keep up with our reviews. And I hope that you'll also watch our sister show, which is Step Into the Story, where Donna and I dissect books once a month, and once a month give writer's tips. And again, if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to catch all 3. Have a great weekend, and I will see you at the beginning of December. Thanks.